Here we are, finally at our destination, the Roy Library Southwest Branch, or I guess Weber Library Southwest Branch. Before I go in, I want to show where the gigantic library book sale was being held. I forgot just how long this walkway is. It's like it just goes on and on and on. Of course, this place is about a decade old. I mean, it's still new. It's built to be modern. Just like the Clearfield Library, it's built to be modern for like the next 30 or 40 years. In my opinion, though, it looks like they don't have, this library doesn't have books like the other one, the old location did. Like they're hoarding all of the books. I believe the library is in fact open because it's like 11 or 10. But this area out here, this whole area out here is where the book sale happened. And I'm not kidding when I say they had tables set up everywhere from that back wall there all the way to here, plus the little place where you go to pay, and then boxes, just hundreds of books, hundreds of people here easily to shop, you know, for books and all that. And I remember we got what we wanted and we were standing in line like right here, and the line wrapped from here all the way back there. But I give them credit because they moved as quickly as they could. The lady going around who was handing out numbers and tallying up the books, she completely ignored us. I mean, we were there, we had books, but she completely ignored us. I don't know why, but she did. But this is the library's the little unloading, offloading. I mean, they use it more for, like, it's more of a museum than the old location where you go in there, there's just books. To me, it's more of a museum. It's more of like a propaganda station, because libraries are supposed to be places for, like, you know, free thinking and research, but you know, obviously they're going to heavily lean into one spectrum and promote that instead of have multiple different, you know, different angles. But I hardly even call it a library. I don't consider it a library. I don't even rent books from here anymore. There's the book drop. And there's new art. They have new art on display every time I visit, it seems. So I think some of these are on sale, actually. I think the ones that are marked are the ones that are purchased. I like the last ones. They're kind of trippy with the acid fairy and all that. These ones look more like normal art you would buy for your mom or your grandparent. Although some of it does look kind of trippy. Kind of, sort of. Does it change? Look, all these different ones. Seaweed in the sand. It just kind of looks like... It doesn't remind me of Dali. I want to say Salvador Dali, but it doesn't really remind me of him. This is the most normal one that I've seen, where it looks like something you look at, you could tell. This one looks like snow in the mountains. I mean, it's all kind of blurry. I'm trying to remember what that style is called, Impressionism or something. But it's all kind of like blurred, like that's the style they do it. They blur all of the, you know, whatever. That one, it's normal. That one looks like, what is that? Guitar riffs. Okay, I can kind of see it. Kind of sort of landscape. I wonder if the library ever keeps any of these, like buys any to display. Let's walk over to their little museum nook that they have, because they change it every month, I think. What is this? Okay. This is a shock to me. I thought the founding fathers were problematic. They were too problematic to be discussed in 2024. That looks like a quilt or something of the signing of the Declaration or Constitution. Bells 'cause freedom rings, or whatever that saying is, that phrase. What is that? A horn? Paul Revere's cap. That's probably a replica. That looks way too new to be a hat from back then. That looks way too new. Golden spike. Some of these are different flags that the US was using at the time, and then some of them are different states' flags. I don't know who that is. That's Benjamin Franklin. I'm not sure who that is. It's George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. That's Betsy Ross. And maybe that's Betsy Ross and that's Martha Washington. Interesting. Colorful history of the United States flags. The problematic history of the United States flags. They're all probably like upset and triggered that they have to display it. Like, can we just skip this whole week? Let's see. I think that's about it. And they might have like a little presentation or something on it later. Look at all those delicious fattening treats in here. And they're closed. I'm hungry. Open up. How do you pronounce her name? Des Tade?
Des Tate.
Des Tate.
Yep.
Wow. That's a magnificent bird.
And it's Apache.
Apache, okay.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Are you going to pellet too? All the way.
This is supposedly how much she weighs. So that's a good amount. That's a healthy bird.
That's a big bird. She's as big as you.
Well, we just left the Black Box Theater. That's where the bald eagle, not really an exhibit, a presentation was being held. And I knew I was going to miss most of it because I left the house late. There's the van. They're loading her back into the van. It was very informative, even though I was only there for 5 minutes of it, but it was really interesting. I mean, a free event, eagles are cool. I wish I could have gotten there earlier to hear the whole story, but wow, which is what a majestic creature, a majestic bird, the eagle. And like she said, that her name is actually Apache, because I thought it was just a made-up name. I was like, what name is that? But it's Apache, so it's not just some weird, fictitious made-up name. But that was a fun little excursion. And now I'm off to do whatever. I was going to record more of the pamphlets, but it's like, what's the point? Like, the fantasy fiction pamphlet is all just like mainstream stuff. Like, there are no challenged books on the list, because there's a lot of like Roger Zelazny's Guns of Avalon. That was a challenged book. That's a fantasy fiction book. They didn't have that on the list. I was just disappointed because like a lot of it was like safe choices. And I'm not saying they need to have like, you know, demonology books out there for the kids, but you know, there's like other fiction writers outside of like C.S. Lewis and the Game of Thrones guy. They didn't have any of that. I mean, even in the realm of Star Wars fiction, there's books that aren't like mainstream. You can argue that, oh, it's like published under Lucas Books or Del Rey or Bantam under the Star Wars banner, so it's already mainstream. But like Splinters of the Mind's Eye, nobody knows about that book. Literally no one ever talks about it. And it's supposed to take place immediately after Episode 4, the first Star Wars movie. Which now everyone's confused. Because you have the original trilogy, you have 3 prequels, and you have the sequels. So when you say the first Star Wars movie, people are like, oh, The Phantom Menace? No. Like, the first Star Wars movie is Star Wars Episode 4. Just Star Wars. A New Hope. Like, they knew when they were making it that it was going to be a series. That's why it's Episode 4 in the opening crawl. The first movie. No one talks about Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Even Shadows of the Empire. It's like all these like safe mainstream choices, the Game of Thrones, literally Game of Thrones by the Game of Thrones guy. I was like, really? And that's why I said in the video, I said overrated. I think I was talking about the science fiction section when I said that, but still, it is overrated. It was on TV for a decade. I never watched it because I thought it was boring as hell. And it seemed like they were always standing around talking. Granted, that's the HBO series and not the book. I'm like, if it's based off the book, if it's based off the book isn't going to be that much more interesting. And people are still waiting for him to write the conclusion like the last book. And he'll probably fucking drop dead before it ever gets written.